Alright, listen. I know you see me in this kind of shirt a lot. It's very thin. It's breathable. I got like 10 of them because I'm like a freaking cartoon character over here. I live in Japan. It's getting hotter because summertime's coming. You know, so you're just gonna have to deal with it because that's what I have to do when I have no working AC. Hello Internet, 'tis I, the Roshi, and I'm back with another reaction, this time reacting to the Templin Institutes Black Templar video. The only thing I know about the Black Templars is that they are super religious, that they are a part of the Imperial Fists, and a couple other small details that maybe you have mentioned in the comments down below. But I don't know much about these guys. We're gonna get into it. All right. Okay, Black Templars.
For 10,000 years, the Imperium of Man has withered in the shadow of the Great Crusade. It was an incalculable effort, a grand campaign, elevated to legend and myth. The Great Crusade marked the brief but golden era in human history, when the Emperor himself raised high a burning sword to throw back the darkness of the old night. Wherever his fleets and armies triumphed, civilization was rekindled. Wonders were rebuilt, star systems and sectors were reunified, and the promise of technology and science pulled back humanity from the depths of its ignorance. The Battle of Istvan V marked the official end of the Great Crusade, and the start of the heresy that would tear down everything it had sought to achieve. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, the campaigns of the Emperor are a distant memory, intertwined with myth and lies.
Oh, wow.
But the most terrible truth the enemies of mankind can learn is that the Great Crusade never ended. Even in this dark and terrible age where the Imperium withers, fleets and armies tear across the galaxy in its name. But no longer do they carry with them the power of technology or science, nor the promise of progress and understanding.
Right.
Now, the Great Crusade brings only death and vengeance, for it is no longer the Emperor that leads it, but his most zealous, vindictive sons, the Black Templars.
Okay.
Like many of the institutions and organizations that today make up the Imperium of Man, the Black Templars were born from the fear of a second massive civil war, from which it would never recover. The transhuman Space Marine legions, immortalized as the Astartes, were the most powerful of the Emperor's armies, and without them, the Great Crusade would have faltered and failed. But when corrupted by the Dark Gods, the legions also represented the greatest threat to the continued survival of human civilization. To prevent the calamity of the Horus heresy from ever repeating itself across the Imperium, Primarch Roboute Guilliman argued in its immediate aftermath that the Legion should be reorganized into far smaller chapters, consisting of no more than 1,000 Space Marines. He penned his treatises in a sacred tome of military organization that would come to be known as the Codex Astartes. Guilliman's surviving loyal brothers, each in command of a legion of their own, were divided by his proposal, but none were more vocal in their opposition than Rogel Dawn, Primarch of the Imperial Fists Legion.
Right.
It was only when Dawn realized that his steadfastness might lead to the very kind of internal conflict that Guilliman sought to avoid that he consented. In an event known as the Second Founding, the Imperial Fists were split into numerous chapters, and the Black Templars were born.
Okay.
Ironically, though Dawn had sought to keep his legion united, the establishment of the Black Templars, in many ways, merely gave independence to a distinct force that had already existed within the Imperial Fists. Even before the Horus heresy, Sigismund, first captain of the Imperial Fists Legion, had gained a reputation as a warrior of peerless lethality and ability. Only the Primarch surpassed his almost supernatural genius for dealing death to the enemies of mankind. During the Siege of Terra, Sigismund was further elevated to the honorary position of Emperor's Champion, and the livery of the Imperial Fists that adorned his armor was painted over black to to signal he represented the Emperor himself.
That's pretty cool.
But above all, Sigismund radiated a zealousness and fanaticism that attracted others of a similar mindset to his side. When the time came to appoint a chapter master for the nascent Black Templars, Sigismund was an obvious choice. He initiated as his first warriors those among the former legion who shared his zealotry and determination. Many were selected from the Templar Brethren, an elite force within the Imperial Fists that had guarded the Temple of Oaths aboard the flagship Phalanx. They adopted the black armor of Sigismund as their own, and it is believed from this early cadre that the entire chapter would take its name. Sigismund, however, refused to adhere to the Codex Astartes, regarding it as an insult by Guilliman, directed towards his own Primarch, Dawn. Yet he was also devoted to proving the loyalty of his chapter. By his order, the Black Templars embarked on a crusade into the unexplored reaches of the galaxy, far from the oversight of Guilliman and the Imperium, and deep into the heart of the enemy. For 10,000 years, this campaign has endured, the longest Space Marine crusade in the history of the Imperium.
Wow.
The Black
10,000
Templars
years.
have strayed further and further from the Codex Astartes across the millennia, and are now virtually unrecognizable when compared to the force that Guilliman envisioned. Many of their variances are merely superficial, such as the adoption of distinct titles and ranks. Others, however, have completely altered the very foundation of the chapter, and must be kept secret from the Imperium. It is likely that no other chapter has deviated from the Codex Astartes to the same extent as the Black Templars. Their most distinctive element is their complete lack of a chapter homeworld, preferring instead to exist nomadically aboard their crusading fleets and armadas. Their only stationary bases are a series of keeps and outposts established on worlds they have conquered. These act as recruitment centers that process aspirant battle brothers, and replenishment stations that provide logistical support to their mobile forces. Even these keeps, however, might be abandoned or reclaimed as the movement of the Crusade dictates. A Gloriana-class battleship, the Eternal Crusader, just one of 20 such vessels constructed during the Great Crusade, serves as the chapter flagship. It houses all the sacred relics, chapels, and devotional places of the Black Templars, and acts as a de facto capital and fortress monastery.
Good name for it, Eternal
But
Crusader.
the greatest
Makes
secret
sense.
of the Black Templars might be their exact disposition and fighting strength. The chapter is rumored to possess an unusually high number of Astartes, greatly exceeding not only the 1,000 warrior limit imposed by Guilliman, but perhaps even the legions of old. If true, this would make the Black Templars the largest Space Marine force within the Imperium, by an enormous margin. Their exact numbers are obfuscated by rarely assembling the entire chapter together, and instead dividing it between several crusading fleets. There are typically at least 3 operating at all times, though as many as 14 have been known to exist simultaneously.
My god.
Each fleet is led by a marshal, and might consist of one or several fighting companies, which are in turn commanded by a castellan.
This is a call to action. At the time of the recording of this video, we are 14 days away from my birthday. Now I know it's a long shot, and I'm not expecting to make the goal, but I've been trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Currently I'm 600 something, the number's there. It would be an amazing gift if I could get closer to that number. My ultimate goal is to reach 1,000 before the end of the summer, but if I could get even closer for my birthday, that would be one of the best gifts I could ask for. That would be a huge push, a huge jump in the right direction for me and this channel, and just getting closer to doing more of this kind of thing. So I ask of you, please, if you're not subscribed, just click the button. If you know someone who might be interested, please share the videos. If there is other specific content that you would be interested in, that you think other people would be interested in seeing, then leave those suggestions down below. You watching my stuff, you subscribing and supporting me, you liking the videos, all those things makes me a happy lad. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for hearing me out. On with the video.
Fighting companies themselves can vary drastically in numbers. Some contain only a few dozen battle brothers, while others exceed 100. Individual Astartes are rarely assigned to a company by a superior, but instead choose their assignments based on fraternal bonds and codes of honor. Specialists such as apothecaries and chaplains, meanwhile, have near complete autonomy within the chapter, able to move between formations as they see fit. In addition to the Astartes themselves, companies include the far more numerous non-augmented personnel who supply the material, specialists and auxiliary assets required to keep the Crusade fleets operational. Even at the tactical level, the Black Templars have eschewed the rigid doctrine of the Codex Astartes in favor of more flexible and ad hoc units. This is epitomized in the Crusader Squad, a unique merging of veteran Astartes warriors with unproven new recruits. These form the mainstay of the chapter's armies, with most elite Crusader squads led by sword brethren. These are the greatest warriors within the chapter, spread amongst its many squads, rather than grouped together, as the Codex Astartes would dictate. Likewise, where other chapters would rotate their Astartes between various companies to learn different methods of warfare, Space Marines of the Black Templars are encouraged to seek out their own path.
I'm loving this
Many
art, by
spend
the way.
decades or even centuries without any advance in rank, and no dishonor is seen in this. The path from novice initiate to fleet marshal is thought to be guided by the Emperor alone. The title of High Marshal is bestowed upon the Supreme Commander of the Black Templars, to which all other marshals swear fealty. The High Marshal enjoys perhaps the most autonomy of any military commander within the Imperium of Man, decreeing by his own designs where and when his forces will engage the enemy. Even Imperial governors, Lord Commanders of the Astra Militarum, and other Astartes might be denied help from the Black Templars if their cause is considered corrupt or unworthy. Yet they make a special exception for the requests of the Ecclesiarchy, and this provides a clue to the most fundamental divergence of the Black Templars. While many chapters of the Adeptus Astartes demonstrate some kind of secular spiritualism or ancestor worship, the Black Templars have fully embraced the literal truth of the imperial cult. They see the Emperor of Man as nothing less than a god to be worshipped and adored, and to whom sacrifices are owed on the field of battle. The most visible expression of this belief are the devotion chains they bring into battles. Astartes of the Black Templars will typically bind their weapons to their fists on the eve of conflict, removing them only when victory has been achieved.
Oh, wow.
Chains of Zeal, by contrast, are permanent,
Cool.
affixed to the most fanatical battle brothers, and only removed upon their death. This uncompromising belief and religious fervor permeates every aspect of the chapter, and is used to justify the harshest of measures. Even amongst the Space Marine chapters, the Black Templars are capable of extreme violence and abhorrent sacrifices. Yet, no matter the scale of the massacres they perpetrate, or the consequences of their intolerance, so long as it is done in the Emperor's name, it will always be justified. The zealotry of the Black Templars is also expressed in the chapter's absolute refusal to accommodate librarians, the sanctioned psychers of the Astartes, within their ranks. Their zealous hatred of anything corrupted or suspected to be corrupted by the warp leaves no room for any kind of mutant or aberration. This prejudicial hatred of librarians is often misinterpreted by outsiders as a sweeping intolerance for all forms of psyker, but in truth, the Black Templars hold a special reverence for astropaths. These individuals are seen as holy disciples, honored for their gifts that allow them to witness the light of the Emperor. The newly crafted Primaris Marines, however, have been viewed with equal parts suspicion and adulation across each of the crusading fleets. Black Templars seem especially suited to undergo the agonizing transformation into this new and stronger breed of Space Marine, but some also view the process as blasphemy upon the original work of the Emperor. The rumors that many of the first Primaris Marines sent to reinforce the chapter were slaughtered has done little to ease the tensions between the Black Templars and the Imperium they serve. The Black Templars, however, still possess the intense desire first held by Sigismund to prove their devotion to the Emperor. Every subsequent High Marshal has repeated the vow of their founder and continued the crusade that he started. The Black Templars have annihilated countless alien races, shattered the foundations of stellar empires, and even prosecuted imperial worlds on which the slightest taint of corruption was found. Across their 10,000-year history, they took part in the Great Scouring that formed in the aftermath of the Horus Heresy. They confronted the Black Crusades of Abaddon the Despoiler and the mightiest wars of the Greenskins. To the darkness they have brought fire, to the ignorant, faith. But in the unfolding new age that has come to be known as the Era Indomitus, the Black Templars have found the ultimate crucible in which to prove their faith. As the galaxy burns to the laughter of the dark gods, and the light of the Imperial faith lies gutted, the chapter has been reinvigorated. Long-abandoned chapter keeps have been restored, and new ones raised on the burning rubble of traitor strongholds. Fresh crusades are being formed, and old ones reinforced. On 1,000 different battlefields, their righteous hatred and tireless intolerance drives them onwards. For the galaxy is beset by the alien, the mutant, the heretic, and the witch, and the Black Templars can suffer none to live.
Black Templars. Alright, so really cool, right? I love their armor, like their color scheme, the fact that they are just like crusaders. I can see where it's also a little heretical as well. It's a fine line. It's kind of like, oh no, we're doing this for you know, Big E Man. This is for him. And then they get the pass, like, oh, I guess you're right. But like killing Primaris Marines as they show up, altering and refusing to do things that are in the Codex, hating on psychers, except for a specific psyker, when the Emperor was also a psyker? They know that, right? Unless they're just like, oh, it's not a psyker, he's a god, it's different. I don't know. But, man, they are super interesting. Can't say they're my favorite. I mean, at the same time, I like Sisters of Battle. That's also really insane too. What I also like about these guys is that they chain their weapons to them, and they can't be unchained until they finish their fight. That's dedication right there. That's cool. You can't say these guys aren't dedicated. I don't know. This was a very interesting video. Do you like Black Templars? Is there a specific Black Templar story that I should look up or that you'd like to tell me about? Please let me know in the comments below, and please leave another suggestion if you have any. I plan on looking at all sorts of stuff. Eldar, Orcs, Necrons, more Space Marine chapters, you name it. I'm gonna try to learn it all. If you made it to the end of the video, please write monochrome somewhere in your comment down below, and that way I know that you're a real one. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. Later.